So, for those of you just joining now, we are doing round 1 of Loki Machines versus Shikigami. We're trying out Patrick Ogrentz's list of Shikigami, which you'll be able to check out on the YouTube channel and everything later. We'll be having the list posted at some point, so you guys will be able to see that. It's pretty cool. I like the place where Shikigami are at the moment, the cool tricks that they can do. It basically really incentivizes you to run like Chimimi with them, with Nature's Beauty, or you can just run Hanzo with Nature's Beauty. The idea is that you can just load out a board after you drop Seimei, and it just increases your OTK potential by a whole bunch with Nature's Beauty, being able to say, hey, no blockers for the turn, and everything that I just loaded out from the previous turns can just swing openly. But Loki Machines definitely has some new tools that they can definitely use at this time, and Return of God is an insane card for Loki Machines. So I'm really happy that it got it. I'm really excited to see where this can potentially go. So, and for those of you that don't know, let me go ahead and get Return of God to make sure I'm actually saying it right. Yeah, Return of God is the new Master Rune for Loki that costs 2 less. It's basically a 2-cost card that just looks at the top 7 cards. And puts a Resonator into play with cost X or less. X is equal to the turn that you are currently on, basically the number of magic stones that you have. Some interesting shenanigans, possibly, that we could wind up seeing from that at some point is like some sort of like black-blue machine list, which actually runs Return of God and ramps a bunch of stones with Layla. And so like you could be looking at turn 3 putting a 6-drop in play for 2 will. That seems good. That seems good. So that'd be cool to see in the future. But for now, we got just generic Loki Machines and Hanzo Shikigami. So they did roll, and let's see, Josh got an 18, so Loki Machines is going to be going first this game. Oh, well, he got the 18. I'm wrong, though. He's going second. I'm not sure what the point of rolling was there then, unless they were doing lowest number. I'm assuming they just decided to do lowest number. So yeah, we got Loki Machines going second with the Energize. So turn 1, what are we looking at possibly seeing? Not a whole lot from green. They don't have a whole lot of things going on at this time, unless they're actually playing the 1-drop Shikigami. Just playing Monkey Shikigami here, just a 1-drop 4/4. This card gains +1/1 in swiftness as long as you control Yin Yang Master, which is mainly Seimei. That'll be coming out later. And then passing back to the Machine Player. The Machine Player doing a traditional turn 1 play of just Vivian. Oh, using the Energize? Or are we not burning the Energize? We are burning the Energize. Okay, so dropping the Vivian and then energizing out the Guinevere immediately after and putting all the counters on Vivian. So we're sitting on a 3/3 Vivian, or a 6/6 Vivian already. Pretty solid, especially since it has flying too. So going to be possibly swinging in the air very soon with that, and just getting more and more counters and being able to tap things down. Like, oh man, just the interaction there of Seimei coming down and Vivian just being able to tap it down and saying, hey, no, you don't get to use your tap effect and put things into play. That's going to be a really solid play later. So I'm excited to see where this can potentially go with that. Passing back to Pat on Shikigami, we're just going to be playing an Explore the Unknown, which is free because it's in the rune area. Looking at top 5, seeing what we can grab, probably looking for a Seimei at this point. Seimei basically just facilitates all your play, so we're probably grabbing that. Either that or the Lorite. We could see a Lorite at some point. Turn 2, not a whole lot that Shikigami will be doing either. Most of the plays really do just focus around Seimei, which is honestly probably one of the biggest downfalls of the deck. Just the fact that if Seimei is dealt with accordingly, or if they don't draw Seimei, the deck kind of just really suffers and gasps, but Seimei goes so far if it actually resolves and goes off. It's kind of like an early mystery box in a way, where it just allows you to start putting things into play. When it comes in, it searches more cards, which is cute as well. So, looks like we found Dog Shikigami, which is a really solid pick off Seimei. When it enters, you can go ahead and recover 2 magic stones if you control Yin Yang. So we'll be looking for a time where Pat will be dropping Seimei, passing to Josh, and then being able to tap Seimei and putting in Dog and untapping 2 stones that were tapped down in order to play Seimei. So pretty cool, pretty cool. Definitely one of the cards that really allows you to push a bit further with the combo. So. But yeah, so we got 2 stones. What are we seeing? Like, we could see a Yokai Festival for some Jizos here to start applying some real pressure. We could potentially see just a Dog or another Shikigami just coming in. Oh, looks like we're swinging with Monkey for 4/4, despite there being a 6/6 in play. So that leads me to believe that there's some sort of like Winds of Vitality that Pat is threatening at this time. That he probably has something to be able to just pump it up, or it is Hanzo, maybe just a table flip. So yeah, Josh is just going to be safe and say, yeah, I'm just going to take the 4 damage. So we are leaving 2 will up from Hanzo. So either table flips or Viola. Not really sure what's going to come off of that, but that's more than likely what the case is. Or maybe even a Ruin Story. We do have Speaking Stone, so. But back to the machine player, Josh in this case, tapping for another stone. Basic stone. Okay, so in this list we will be seeing Freya's Cane, potentially. Freya's Cane just is a generic 3/3, came out in the new set, and when you wind up playing it, it's a 3/3 until you actually get to 5 basic blue stones. At 5 basic blue stones, it becomes a 7/7. Let me go ahead and look up the card exactly so I don't misword it. Yeah, it becomes a 6/6, and this card cannot be blocked, and it's at 4 or more magic stones. That'll definitely be pretty sweet to see later on. But we are keeping the Dramaturgy as the generic stone that most machine players still play, even if you are going for the basic stone lineup. And it is a 10 stone deck, so we're probably seeing 4 Dramaturgy and 6 basic stone. He tapped 1, played the Freya. Freya is just a 0/2. Whenever you draw during your draw phase, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put a card into your hand, put the rest on the bottom. So if you guys remember Morgiana, Freya is kind of like a weaker version of that for blue, but she's also a 1-drop machine, which is really key. So we're playing the Freya, which then, because it's a machine, it nets a counter on Vivian. Vivian swings in the air for 7, got that 7 damage in on Pat. Pat went from 40 to 33. And then just tapping, playing a Donut Drone. Probably not going to do anything with it, probably just going to play the Donut Drone and pass at this point. Unless he actually wants to get rid of it to get some counters. Freya puts the other card in the grave, not bottom of the deck. Oh yeah, yes, you're correct about that. I'm sorry, I misread that. But yeah, looks at the top 2 cards, puts a card from them into your hand, and the rest into your grave, similar to what machines have been doing with most of their stuff. Kind of like scrap and build, kind of like Arthur when he enters, just trashing the rest of the cards that you don't pick. Alright, so he is playing the Lorite here. I don't know if he... It looks like... Oh, okay, so the Donut Drone was sacked to try and stack even more counters on something here. And at that point, Pat responded by playing the Lorite to stop the effect of gaining more counters. Because it was still during Josh's turn, Josh decided to also Sandstorm here to just get rid of the Lorite so he doesn't have to worry about Disciples play. That would have been really key for Pat to get back online, for him to be able to drop the Lorite on the machine player's turn, and then come back to him, drop a Disciples for 3 will, swing into the Vivian. The Vivian at that point would have to burn the 2 counters for sure in order to make sure that it stays alive. So, pretty good, pretty good. Let's see, so that leaves everything tapped out on Josh's part, so we're probably going to see him passing over to Pat very soon. But yeah, he's got the Freya in play to be able to dig for the cards that he needs. If he sees something way too big that he doesn't want to play, he can ditch it. Or if it's something way too small and it doesn't meet his curve, he can ditch it, which is cute. And it just gives him the ability to really find exactly what he's looking for in this matchup. The Guinevere is still online, which means that if any of his guys would die, he can just go ahead and sack it off and get counters on there. So Gwen will probably be getting big at some point as well. And we still got 1 will open on Pat's part, so he's probably still considering exactly what he wants to do. Maybe there's just another Lorite that he's considering just dropping, so that when it comes to his turn, he can drop the Disciples. Either that, or he's probably just going to drop a Seimei on his turn, and he's going to have to deal with a Lancelot following the turn after, which will be problematic for him. They're just taking a little bit. I think they're still thinking about their turns, but just want to make sure that they're not lagging at this point. There's a possibility one of them may be lagging out, which is kind of sad, but boy got pizza. Okay, yeah, so Pat had actually ordered pizza before the stream, so just came at this point, which is a little funny. like there's commentary instead of the player talking on the Gauntlet being the focus of commentary. I agree. I think it definitely helps a lot with what's going on, because a lot of the time when the player starts trying to focus on commentary, one of two things is going to happen. Either he's not going to be able to focus on the commentary, and he's going to have to focus on play, which means the commentary suffers, and the players are just, or the audience is just bored at that point because there's nothing interesting going on. Or, I mean, the other problem being that, okay, they focus so much on the audience that they can't play effectively, and then they just misplay all the time, and then it's not interesting watching that, so... But yeah, hard to talk through that. Speculate which brand of delivery it is. So what kind of brand, guys? Little Caesars, Jets Pizza? Come on, start telling me. What pizza did he get? Goman. Oh, he got Goman. Alright. And let's see... Untapping, getting a stone. Oh, he's playing that stone. He's playing Magic Stone of Adventure in here. Target Mimi. What Mimis is he playing, though? Because this is a Hanzo deck. I would have assumed that would have been the Stone of Tranquility to be able to untap your Hanzo once you wind up flipping, so that's interesting. Are we seeing... Oh, maybe it's the 4-drop Mimi, the bowling ball guy. Ah, okay. Okay, it's cute. Definitely helps against the Gil matchup. Just a 12-12 with precision and swiftness that can just swing into Gil right away. Especially if he is actually playing the Vitalities in here, so that he can match Gil's Vitality. But he is going to tap 3 and play that Seimei. And Seimei, when it enters, you can look at the top 4 cards of your deck, add a Shikigami from among them to your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in a random order. And it is a yin-yang. He does find the Kukunoichi, which is one of the better Shikigamis that he can find. It's either that or Dog, which tend to be like the best options. It's just a 4-drop 7/12, pretty sturdy body. And when this card is put into a graveyard from your hand by a spell or ability your opponent controls, put it into play. So basically it's immune to discard. And then when it enters, recover target cat. So you can put it into play off a Seimei, then untap Seimei because it is a cat. And then Seimei can tap again, put in Dog Shikigami. When Dog Shikigami enters, it can recover 2 stones. So you can definitely see how this deck can just kind of explode, where it can put like 1, 2, maybe 3 Kukunoichi into play, and then finish off by putting a Dog into play as well, and tap 2 stones, have Floating Will. You play Table Flips and Vitalities and Fairer Spells and Lorite, so you can protect your bodies. It becomes a really, really solid engine as you continue on. Unfortunately, it's kind of problematic when you've got something like Vivian, which can just burn 2 counters and tap the Seimei. But it looks like Josh elected to not go for that play. Maybe he's deciding to go for something else in this case, because what could have happened was the Seimei would have been played at the end of his turn. Josh would have paid 2 counters on Vivian, tapped the Seimei, and just wouldn't have to deal with the tap effect. Oh, I'm sorry. Seimei has to pay a will anyway to put stuff into play, so that's probably why he's electing not to go that route. So, at that point, Seimei's pretty safe at the moment. Or, Josh is pretty safe at the moment for not having to deal with the Seimei right now, since Pat doesn't have any open will. We've got 3 open will. On the machine player's part, Energize was used early on to be able to go Vivian into Gwen pretty quickly. And then we played a Donut Drone and a Freya, so I think we're still dealing with the top 2 cards on deck. No, we're not. Drew a card. Yeah, I think Josh forgot to use Freya, or just elected not to use Freya. But that's fine, so he's at 3 stones. There's always a possibility that, hey, maybe the next 2 cards are actually really solid and you just don't want to be ditching any of them. Specifically, like if I see a Lancelot and a Return of God on the top 2 cards, I'd rather not ditch any of them. I'd rather not use Freya's effect early, so it's kind of dependent on what's going on with the situation. But we do have 3 open will. I could see a Lancelot coming down at this time, which would be really solid for the machine player. We could just see more 1-drops. We could see a Return of God searching for Lancelot on the top 7 cards. There's a lot of play lines open to machines. I think Return of God did a lot for machines, for their consistency, for allowing them to effectively use a high curve in their deck. One of the problems you ran into with all the Mosasaurus and the Camelots and the Misties was that you sometimes just wind up drawing those and then you can't play them effectively. And Return of God just gives you an easy option to curve into them as you go on, to where like around turn 5 you can spend 3, drop a Lancelot, and 2 for Return of God and put like a Mosasaurus into play. Like that's a legit turn 5 play. So it does a lot, and it definitely incentivizes you finally to use one particular ruler over the other. We've been struggling with, is Loki better, is Arthur better? Honestly, there wasn't much of a difference. Now we finally have a reason to play one of them over the other, and Loki by far wins with Return of God. Such an awesome card. And I mean, you're already playing Mystery Box, you're planning on hitting turn 7, so the fact that it just gets better as time goes on makes it such a phenomenal card as well. And then look at this, like, if you don't get the Lancelot, like, you can dig 7 cards deep for another Lancelot to just be able to find at another time. And so he's able to just spend 2 will, cheat out 1 will for the Lancelot, find in the top 7 cards so he didn't have to draw it. And then he still has another will to be able to play a 1-drop in this case, or just tap down the Dramaturgy for a counter. But yeah, Monkey sacked to Seimei in response to return. Okay, so he was deciding to give Barrier to Seimei off of Seimei's effect. It says you can banish a Shikigami. This card gains Barrier until end of turn. So he wanted to respond to the Return of God that was being played, and he wanted to potentially get the Barrier online so they wouldn't have to deal with any more targeting effects. The Lancelot did enter, and what wound up happening, it looks like, was Vivian sacked 2 counters in response to tap down the Seimei, so that it would be vulnerable. And then when the Lancelot came down, it triggered Vivian's effect and Lancelot's effect to just fill it back up to 5. So that way we just played around the Barrier and didn't have to deal with it. And because it was tapped down, it was easy to swing into, so it looks like that's what wound up happening, that Vivian, just as a casual 8-8, swung into the 7-8 body that Seimei was and killed it off. And then we swung in there for 1 with Freya due to the counter that we got off Lancelot, so we went from 33 to 32 for Pat. But yeah, now back to Pat's turn. He's going to be on 4 stones this turn. His 1 Seimei did die, so we'll see if he has any more Seimei to potentially drop. But this is starting to get a little problematic for him with the number of machines on board and the counters that they have. Like, they're pretty loaded up. But that's kind of what tends to happen game 1. Machines tends to steamroll a lot of decks until, like, Black Tears or something comes in. Then game 2 and 3 gets really problematic for machines. But game 1's kind of free for them, similar to Ayu, similar to Kirik. Aggressive decks in Force Will just tend to win easy game 1s until they get hard-sided against. So we'll see how the rest of this game goes, but more than likely we're going to be seeing a game 1 loss for the Shikigami going into game 2 with some heavy sideboard. So we're tapping 3, playing Seimei. When Seimei comes in, we find Rikugo, Tree Shikigami, just a 3-drop, 3/10 that basically has the old Alice Avatar effect. The old Alice Avatar stated whenever you would receive damage, it receives it instead, so it kind of protects you. It's really nice against aggressive decks like Machines or Kirik or Ayu, where you can just play that and protect yourself a bit. And it gains 2/2 as long as you control a Yin-Yang, so instead of a 3/10, it's just a 5/12, which is a pretty solid stat line for a Resonator that you're putting into play for free off Seimei, so pretty solid Resonator. So we're seeing him drop Seimei. He still has an open will. He is going to tap in this case. What are we going to see from him? We're seeing a Whirlwind technique. Okay. So it looks like when the Seimei came in, the Lancelot removed 3 counters from the Vivian to try and kill off the Seimei. And we're going to see the tap of the will for the Whirlwind technique to give Barrier to Seimei to protect it from that. That way it just won't die to the Lancelot effect. In that case, we're going to see a quick cast maintenance from Josh, where he's going to gain 2 counters, and he's going to put more counters and then respawn again with Lancelot's effect to be able to try to kill it 2 more times, and Pat just scoops up his cards at that point. Yeah, it's a pretty hard game 1 once machines get established. Will the VOD be split up for each match and uploaded separately on YouTube? Yes, it will. That's typically what we've been doing every round for our gauntlets. We'll go ahead and separate each of the rounds into separate videos for people to view. That way they don't have, like, let's say a 5-hour video that they have to comb through and find the exact matchup they want. We could put timestamps there, but it's just a whole lot simpler to split it up into multiple videos. So, and that way you can just click on the video that you want and you don't have to go through the description to find the exact timestamp. But yeah, so round 1 is going to be Machines versus Shikigami, and Machines took game 1 like normal. Machines, just being that aggressive deck, has to be hated on in game 2 and 3. So game 2 and 3, what are the sideboard options for Hanzo Shikigami at this point? We're probably looking at Black Tears to be able to use off that Speaking Stone. So we did see a Sandstorm from the Loki Machines player. I don't know if the Hanzo Shikigami actually has the room to play Sandstorm Rapid Fire me anymore. If it does, that's definitely a solid option as well. But considering we didn't see it in those first 4 turns from Pat, I'm pretty sure he doesn't play it in his rune deck anymore. But that's also a really solid answer to machine players. Just being able to clear their early game. And let's see. So they did finish mulliganing for the most part. Pat's just going to tap for a stone. Saintly Elven Stone. So we saw the Saintly Elven Stone, we saw the Adventure Stone for Mimi, and we've seen the Speaking Stone. So it looks like he's actually just not playing the Tranquility Stone for Hanzo, unless he's playing as like a one-of or something. But we are going to see just a one-drop Arwen, just that new card that most people are trying to get their hands on. It's pretty difficult to get. Unfortunately, there were some issues with the distribution for it, but it's just such a phenomenal card. A 1-drop with 400 defense, which isn't too bad, so it doesn't die to Sandstorm. And while it's on the board, you can just tap it if you control 2 other Resonators, and target Resonator that you control gains +5/+5. Just a reoccurring 5/5 pump is huge. But it does specify Wind Resonator, but more than likely you will be just playing it alongside Wind Resonators. But in this case, it is a little problematic for Josh. He did play the 2-drop Ayu that steals 1-drops when it enters, and so he stole the Arwen, and he can't pump his own guys with it, because it only pumps Wind Resonators. So, and it only can use its effect if he has Wind Resonator. So it's just a 1-drop 2/4, and just keeping Pat from having access to it. More than likely, he'll use it at some point to block against something, and it will just die. So Pat just getting another stone, and then playing Explore the Unknown, looking at top 5, going to see what we can grab in this case. Probably looking for Seimei if he doesn't already have Seimei, or some other card to complement Seimei for when he does finally drop it. But again, like Shikigami doesn't really have a whole lot of plays in the first 2 turns. It's really just setting up for when you finally get Seimei. So he did find the Fox Shikigami, which leads me to believe Seimei's already in his hand. So he's just going to have the Shikigami to be able to play later when he starts tapping Seimei down. Like right now on 2-will, there really isn't a whole lot that he can do. He's probably just going to be passing to Josh after playing something in... Oh, no, he just passed. Didn't play anything at all, just leaving the will open probably for like Vitality or Viola or something along those lines. Machine player, yep, gonna be dropping that Vivian, so... And swinging in with Ayu for 6 damage. Oh, yep, here's the Viola. Okay, so we're gonna see that come down. And right now, Vivian doesn't have any counters on it, so it can't effectively tap the Seimei, which is going to be pretty solid for Pat if he wants to get that online. But he's going to tap 2, he's going to put in Viola, it's going to target itself, give itself 2/2 pump and flying, and it's going to block the 6/6 Ayu, which is really sweet. Just gets a nice effective trade while establishing a body, and then it also gets his Arwen back, so... But then we are going to see the Vivian followed up by a Guinevere, which when it enters gets 2 counters, and it also triggers Vivian's effect because it's a machine. So Vivian's going to go from 0 counters to 3 counters off of that, 1 for itself and 2 from the Guinevere, which is 2. 2 will be able to be removed for the Seimei if it's dropped at any point, and then we possibly just see a Lancelot played right after that. So we're kind of following the same play line. Not as strong as it was before, considering this play wasn't dropped until turn 2, but it does look like we're going to be following the same pattern, unfortunately. But we do have the Arwen online, which will be a 5/5 pump for something on his board, which will be really sweet. So even if he does tap something down, if Josh doesn't actually have the Lancelot to follow up and has to try and kill it through combat, the Arwen will be a nice shield for that, being able to pump it up by 5/5 to ensure it just can't die in combat. But yeah, the Seimei comes down. We're going to look at the top 4 cards for a Shikigami. What did we find? Moved all 4 to bottom. Oh man, so he actually whiffed on that effect, which is problematic. It's not like Kirik's top 5 for a battle art. You have to be playing these Resonators, and there's really only like 2, maybe 3 Resonators you want to play. You want to play 4 Fox Shikigami, you want to play, oh not Fox, I'm sorry, you want to play 4 Dog, and you want to play 4 Kukunoichi. Other than those 2, the others are just kind of subpar in what they do. Like Fox is just a 7/9 that reduces cost of yin yangs, which is nice, but for the most part, the rest of the Shikigami aren't very impactful. And so you don't want to play high counts of them, and green has a lot of other cards that you kind of rather play. So it's definitely understanding that he would whiff on just a top 4 from that. But yeah, then he's just going to swing in with the Viola for 6. Josh goes from 40 to 34, and then passes back to the machine player. I got Darwin's if Pat needs them. I'm not sure if he needs them at the moment. You would have to message him and ask him. I think he's got a few of them. I think he has access to like 2 of them, but I'm not sure. But yeah, man, I really want some Arwins. This card is awesome, but I don't know if I'm playing green this format at all. So yeah, yeah, I figured you meant Arwin. But yeah, seeing more of those blue stones. So we're at 2 basic blue stones to turn on Freya's Cane. Once 2 more hit the board, Freya's Cane will be online, so it'll be a 1-drop 6/6 machine that can't be blocked, which is really significant for machines. But yeah, I don't know how green is really going to perform in this format. It's going to have some decent top 8s, I think, where every now and then it'll get there. We did just see Sam take top 4 with his Chamimi, which I'm playing a variant of in the Gauntlet tonight, which will be pretty interesting to see. But unfortunately, like, I don't see it really matching up to Lucifer Turbo. Just getting Athena's out early and just stone locking the opponent is very, very significant. So we did not draw the Lancelot. Josh did not see it. Oh, that was really strong on Pat's part. So Josh did not draw the Lancelot, and he was forced to actually play his Return of God to try and dig for the Lancelot. He used maintenance to pump up his Vivian and Guinevere, so they were actually significant, and he was going to look at top 7 for the Lancelot, but it just got countered by Hanzo's Sealing Scroll. So now Josh does not have access to a Lancelot this turn. He has 1 will left to try and do something with. It's going to come back to Pat, and his Seimei is now going to be able to start tapping. This is going to be extremely powerful for Pat moving forward. He finally managed to get his Seimei developed. He's going to untap. He's going to start tapping and dropping bodies, which then untaps and produce more will. It's going to be awesome. Alright, we finally got things set up. And we didn't even need to see any of that sideboard hate for it to work, so that kind of shows that sometimes game 1 you can just kind of get there. Or maybe it's just the power of Sealing Scroll. Oh, alright, yeah, Pat's mentioned that, that he might be able to get some Arwins. I didn't know if it was from you, Rick, or if it was from somebody in the area, so nice to meet you, man. I'm happy you managed to make it out onto the stream. And then back for the machine player, just dropping another Guinevere and making Vivian huge. Alright, so it's just an 11/11 flyer. Man. So, swinging directly, not into the Viola. And Pat's just going to take that 11. He is not going to be blocking against that. So he's just going to take that 11 and go down to 29, which honestly, I think it might have been an interesting play there. No, what am I thinking? I was going to say maybe spend 2 tokens and tap down the Seimei and swing into it. But that's exactly what the Arwin's for. At that point, if he spends 2 counters, goes down to a 9/9 on Vivian, taps Seimei, and then swings into it, Arwin just taps and pumps Seimei from a 7/8 to a 12/13. And just wins that trade hard. So definitely good on his part that he didn't. Tree Shikigami has potential. Yeah, I do like it as like a 2-of. It's nice specifically against like aggro decks to just kind of stunt it, especially since you don't have a whole lot of interaction when you're trying to set up with your Seimei play, so I like it. Scroll is good. 0 drops are always good. Yes, unfortunately. Regalia were always good. Sealing Scroll is good. 0 drops do not need to be in this game. I really wish Sealing Scroll was a 1-cost cancel, but no, it's fine. It's fine. Green needs all the help it can get right now because black and white and Kirik and IU are just really powerful at the moment, and I think blue machines kind of is like serving as a big gatekeeper, where I honestly believe it's going to beat out everything that isn't Lucifer or isn't Kirik or IU. So I think machines is looking to be the next gatekeeper deck. But we are going to see Josh tap his Guinevere and remove all the counters. That's probably what the maintenance for was early on, to drop a Camelot and to kill off the Seimei and Viola. So he did get rid of that immediate problem, the fact that he was about to just lose to the amazing tempo that Seimei was about to provide. And he did get a nice 12/12 flyer on board, which is pretty solid for him. Unfortunately, though, if Pat has another Seimei, he's going to be able to play it and then just tap for it on Josh's turn and get the whole board going anyway. It won't be as protected as he was hoping it would be, but it is going to be pretty solid nonetheless. So we'll see exactly what he... No, okay, so he doesn't have the Seimei. So he is just going to play the Monkey Shikigami. He's going to tap 2, play a Dog Shikigami. He does not have a Yin Yang at this time, so unfortunately he doesn't get to untap any stones, and he is just going to pass back to Josh. So Seimei remains offline for another turn. Shikigami unfortunately just unable to actually go off. And now we're back to the machine player. We're going to be on 4 stones now. We've got a Kamla on board, a Vivian, and then Guinevere to rack up on counters when anything would die. So we're definitely seeing some progress for the machine player. But Arwen is still on board, so we could actually see some crackback from Pat. Just honestly, like, this 6-6 is an 11-11 when it comes back to Pat's turn, because he can tap the Arwen before untap and then threaten another 5-5 pump after. So we could actually see Dog Shikigami swinging back at 16-16. So we do have some significant power on Pat's side. But we are going to tap 2 stones on Josh's side. We are going to play another Return of God. Yes, please, Will, if you could get in here, that would be awesome. I've been asking in the Discord channel. Yeah, go ahead and get in the voice channel Gauntlet commentary. I'll be in there. Seed of Rebirth would help this? Yeah, actually, I've been talking about it for a while. I think Seed of Rebirth might see a huge comeback at this point into green decks. I think that would be awesome to see. Hey, Will's in here. All right.
Hey, Joey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let me go ahead and adjust the volume a bit.
I'm in Florida, so this will be interesting.
I didn't know if you were going to be able to get on tonight, so I'm glad you managed to get on, because I've just been talking by myself. So
I didn't even think about it, but then I found out I had my tablet with me, and I was like, oh, that could work.
Cool, and you're not breaking up too much, so that's awesome. Right now you're not breaking up at all, but you might start breaking up in a bit, because Josh was, so...
You know what? I'm just going to move to Florida every time I do the Gauntlet, so I can go listen. I'm going to sit on the beach every time I do the Gauntlet.
Alright, so then back on Josh's side, tapping 2 Will, he played a Return of God, and he got an IU. Not exactly what he wanted for 4 Will, but hey, he still gets the IU. IU enters, and then Pat's just saying, no, I'm going to play Lorite. So we are seeing a Sandstorm from Josh at this point for 200 damage. Are you able to view the game, by the way? Or are you just looking at it based on the stream?
No, I'm viewing the game.
Okay, cool. Josh, I don't know why he's still playing Sandstorm as his Divinity 1. That should be a Sand Awakening in my opinion.
Why is Sandstorm in a machine deck?
I don't know. He doesn't have any AoE damage to couple with it. Like, it's cute in Lucifer. You can tag it on to like a Jet Black Wings or a Ruined Earth. It's good in green because you can rapid fire me. But why in machines?
I don't even play that in my Chamini deck anymore. Like, I don't play Sandstorm Rapid Fire is not even that good right now in my opinion.
Yeah. The only reason I like it is if you are going for the turbo machine build and you want to put the 3-drop in play and get a bunch of other Chimimis. Or sorry, did I say turbo machine? I meant turbo Chimimi. But yeah, it stops Light Tree. Yeah, I agree. It does kill the Light Tree, which is significant. Okay. But at that point, it's already come back to your turn. It can just tap, produce will, and do something with it.
I'm going to say this, like I've said every other time I've heard the stupid card's name. I'm not a fan of Light Tree. I don't think the card is as good as people are going to talk about it.
I agree.
I think there's too many ways to kill it and make them not be able to use it correctly.
I agree. I think Sapling is a card that incentivizes you to play Turbo Mistletoe, and as we've already seen, Turbo Mistletoe is not the correct way to play Brunhild. The correct way to play Brunhild is Turbo with your runes, play March Hares, keep your board state going, focus on the current board state. Don't focus on the future board state of Mistletoe because you'll die before you get there. So, yeah. But that's just my opinion. Will agrees with me on Sapling. Aaron agrees with us on Sapling. It isn't really that great of a card, and it just doesn't synergize with the deck, unfortunately.
You see Josh playing Diverse Evolution.
Ooh, we're gonna have a big board now. All right.
Yeah, this is That's gonna be quite a big board.
Yeah, but we did see the Sandstorm get rid of the Lorite, so that means if Pat's playing Disciples, he won't be able to get any cute plays off with that. Man, Disciples is on a whole new level now with Arwen. Because
dude, it's nasty.
Lorite, Disciples, and Arwen is your 3-card limit in order to net her effect. So you have 3 resonators right there, and then you've got the whole combo going. You've got a 14/14 Flying Drain Precision Swift First Strike. Like it gets over Camelot, it gets over Mosasaurus, it gets over Athenia. So that is so significant.
You know what Arwen's also great with? Bullet Ball Thunderclap.
Oh yeah, that's why Sam was doing so well.
That card's amazing. I tried that out locally before I left for Florida. Yep. Oh my god, that is actually good.
Yeah, like he would play the bowling ball on his turn, and then when it would come back to his next turn before untap, pump it with Arwen. After untap, pump it with Arwen. It's a 22/22. Swing directly because of Nature's Beauty, preventing them from blocking, then Thunderclap it, hit them for 22 direct burn.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It was hilarious. I beat out 2 Lucifers that were playing the whole grindy match, so that like the actual good Lucifers, and I beat each of them like 2 ones, but like all because of Bullet Ball Thunderclap.
Yep, I wouldn't doubt it. So we saw the Diverse Evolution, pumped up his board, swung in the air with Vivian and Camelot, got Pat down to 7, came back to Pat's turn, and he finally saw the Black Tears.
I don't know if it's relevant at this point, though.
I don't think so. It kills the Guinevere, so I think he's just showing it to say that, hey, look, I got it. A little late, but I got it.
No, he's playing it. He's
yeah, he's playing it. He's going to kill his own Arwen, so makes me think, did he actually tap the Arwen before untap? He did not. So he didn't pump before untap. He's not pumping in response. I'm not sure what's going on here. Losing Arwen for Guinevere does not look like a fair trade, but who am I to know? Alright. And the Guinevere's not dead, so what happened?
I have no idea.
That's fine, that's fine.
Oh, now they're dead.
Let's see. Vivian had how many counters on it? I think it was 3. So it was a 6/6.
So what happened was he used the counters to tap Pat's thing. Black Tears went off. So he did get to kill the 1-drops.
Oh yeah,
things are tapped.
Yeah, what am I thinking? I forgot that Vivian is also a 1-drop.
Yeah.
So it did kill off the Vivian. It did kill off that. Why did Arwen not die? That's fine though. It looks like they're going to game 3, so I'm not really sure what was going on there. Because Pat was still down to 7. Camelot was still on board. IU was still on board. Maybe Josh just didn't feel like he had anywhere left to go. He was at 4 stones. He was about to hit 5. He was still 2 turns away from Mystery Box. Maybe he was just out of gas.
Was Josh the one that conceded?
Yeah. They're going to game 3. Josh won first game, and Pat won second game.
I'm surprised Josh conceded. I don't know why you would at that point. Like, you have such a huge swing in the Pat's stuff. But.
Yep. That's what I thought. He had the IU, he had the... Oh, so they're just playing game 3? Okay.
So Joey, now that they're starting game 3, are you ready for me to bring Gil back to the best tier?
Honestly, he's still in a really good spot. He's at least a tier 1.5 deck, so...
So what it is every time a set releases, Gil will go to tier 1.5. And then after about a month, when everything gets settled down, Gil will go, what cards do we put in to break this format?
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep. He just needs time to figure out his matchups every new meta, and then once he does, he becomes a dominant deck again. So
yeah,
we'll see Gil topping in a couple events. He's just got to figure out what he needs to do for this format. So, hey, Steven! Steven finally made it after 10,000 years! Alright. So, just Josh starting off, a turn 1 Vivian, which was really sweet, passing back to Pat, played an Arwen, back to Josh, played the IU, stole the Arwen yet again.
That seems really gross.
Yep.
So, Pat needs to black tears right now.
well, thankfully, Arwen can only pump wind resonators, and it can only tap if you control 3 wind resonators, so... Thankfully, it has the restriction of the actual attribute, so it's not as disgusting as it could be, but yes. Pat's in a pretty bad position nonetheless at the moment, because it's going to come back to Josh, and Josh is just going to drop more machines for that Vivian.
Is Pat playing Sandstorm Rapid Fire?
No, it does not look like it. He's had some opportune times.
Because that would...
Yeah.
That would be so clutch right now.
Yeah, it does not look like it. He's playing Explore the Unknown and Whirlwind Technique. So that's a 3 and a 2. He could easily fit Sandstorm Rapid Fire into that and have another 2, which is Sealing Scroll. So he could easily have it, he just hasn't played it. And I'm assuming it's something else then. So.
Yeah.
But you didn't miss much, Steven. Basically, Shikigami was unable to go off because early Vivians with counters just kept tapping down Seimei. And then Lancelot's would just follow the turn after because of Return of God or just Josh drawing them. And once Lancelot hit the board, just Seimei was dying and everything else was dying. So we're just playing a game 3 for fun to see if Pat can actually get a game here. Because it's hard. Like, honestly, I think Machines are the new Gatekeeper deck. I think it beats Brunhild. I think it beats most green decks. I think it has a really good shot against Gil now.
I have to argue on the green decks a little bit.
Really?
I think Chamimi.
Okay.
Because Chamimi, if you build it like the correct way, which I'm gonna say my way is the correct way because it works. You just put so much pressure on them that by the time you literally just kill them before Mystery Box. Like, you don't give them a chance.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that Machines are different now that they've got Return of God. Like, turn 4 and 5 and turn 6, like, they're actually dropping Mosasaurus, Camelot, and Misty for 2 will. They're just looking at the top 7 cards and putting it in play for 2 will, and then playing more Machines and a Lancelot after. So the deck is super different. I think it's better against its mid-range matchups, but it still has the same problems as always. Like, it still suffers against Black Tears, still suffers if they out-aggro you like IU or Kirik, and I think Gil just cancels all your impactful cards.
Yeah, I was literally about to say, like, Gil, if they're relying on one card to put in several cards, Gil is going to counter that every single game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it doesn't beat Gil, but I do think it stands a really good shot against Hanzo and Chamimi. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think Hanzo's kind of falling off the map a little bit, but it's definitely still a deck to represent. Yeah. But it's not like you have better decks to
right
at the moment. You could probably try to figure out the Hanzo build, but the minute you do, you're going to look at Chamimi and you're going to look at Gil and go, why don't I play these?
Right. So we did see a Return of God from Josh for 2 will. He tried to play it. Pat just countered it with his Sealing Scroll, and then passed back to Pat with 1 will open. So Pat's actually possibly going to get on board here. He's going to be at 3 stones with Energize. He can drop Seimei and then actually tap it and use its effect. Vivian doesn't have any counters, so maybe we'll see it. Maybe we'll finally see it go off. And then Hero in the chat saying, has anyone tried Green Time Spinning Witch with the Shikigami, I'm assuming is what he's saying. I haven't tried it yet. That would be interesting, because, well, no, you can't use it for Seimei's effect. You can't use her Time Will for unless you have an idol or a statue on board. Then you could use it for that.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, right? Like, if you're playing TSW, you're going to play idol and you're going to play statue.
Right.
So, like, it's most likely you're going to have one out before you flush it. That Shikigami thing.
Yeah, that would seem pretty cool, because then you actually legitimately have a turn 3 play with Shikigami instead of having to hope you either have the Energize or something. But I think the problem you run into at that point is you still don't have a rune deck, and you're relying on a Seimei in hand to carry the game for you. And, like, you're only going to see Seimei, like, 60% of the time at most. And this deck has to play Explore the Unknown to dig for Seimei. So if you don't have a rune deck to dig for it, like you're playing a deck that literally straight up loses like 30 to 40% of the time because you can't find your Seimei. So
yeah, like to be honest, I think both Hanzo and Shikigami right now, both decks need to be playing Explore the Unknown.
yeah,
that card is just very, very good to keep you in the game for that mid-game pressure.
yeah. Like at the very least, it allows you to combo Lorite and Disciples together more effectively with an Arwen, and I think that is the new big bomb for green: is Arwen, Lorite, Disciples.
Yeah,
like that is legit.
So you have all of those, but then like green still has all the counter spells that this wonderful game gives us.
Right. So we are going to see another Arwen come down for 1 will, and then we're just going to swing with Dog for 6 damage at Josh. Josh goes from 40 to 34, and we're just going to pass back with 2 wills, so threatening Vitality, Table Flip, Viola.
With this play from Pat, he's very much threatening a Lorite. Josh's mindset is make him have it. So, which it looks like Pat probably doesn't.
Yeah, losing the second Arwen to a second IU. Oh man, Pat just can't keep Arwens.
He's okay. The barrier rune, I guess, worked.
Okay, so we're gonna Whirlwind Technique there to keep the Arwen. All right, so we got 1 Arwen left.
I don't know how much I like that, but
yeah, it really depends on whether this Arwen actually puts in a lot of work or not. So. And Hero saying in the chat, yeah, at Locals we've been playing a lot with different stuff. I'd like the format. Fuxi Dragons are hot. Fuji!
Hey, Joey, my Fuji Misty Dragon deck will live on. That deck is the bomb.
So, in my opinion, Isis literally just does dragons better than Fuji at that point. Because the only reason you play Fuji now is just to Judgment and put a dragon in play. Isis has the new Master Rune that puts dragons in play. That should have been a or it's not a Master Rune, it's a regular rune, Chant Rune. It should have been a Master Rune for Fuji. That should have been his new Chant Master Rune, but instead his new Chant Master Rune was the board wipe one. I'm like, okay. But yeah, literally Isis just does machine or dragons better now, which is really sad for Fuji.
Yeah.
But, all right. So we got back to we did see a diverse evolution. I didn't see any counters from it though.
No, because Pat played Ruin Store.
Ah, yeah, that's what it was. And he used the Energize to do that. Came back to him, got his 4 stones, swinging with Dog Shikigami for 6. Looks like we're blocking with the Arwen. Yeah. So, not really sure what Pat's playline here is, other than Seimei. Oh yeah, Kirik does dragons as well because of his God Art. Yeah, but if you're flipping Kirik and using your God Art, you've probably lost that game, unfortunately. But Kirik really needs to stay on his front side to keep going. Drawing 2 cards a turn is super impactful for him when you're spending cards just to burn the opponent's life. So
people just need to stop playing Kirik and play green.
No! Kirik literally is a tier 1 deck this format as long as Gil is underrepresented. In my opinion, Kirik is the best deck of the format right now. Once Gil comes back, Kirik's going to go down to tier 1.5.
So while that's true, the Gil player has to know exactly what they're doing.
Oh yeah, like I 2-0'd the only Gil player I fought against at Pennsylvania, but he had never seen Kirik before, so...
Dude, if I would have went to Pennsylvania, I literally would have played Gil and it would have been fun. The deck is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Hero saying in the chat, I find your lack of faith disturbing. I am playing Dragons of Fuji because I like him. All right,
well,
that's
you better
fine.
be playing Misty. You better be playing Heroic Epic and Misty Dragon in there.
Woo! No. Even better. He better be playing Heroic Epic into Samurai Ushiwa, looking at top 5 cards of the deck, putting a Misty in play.
Yes.
And he is. He's playing Heroic Epic.
And he better be playing...
Sorry, you're breaking up. What'd you say, Will?
I said he better be playing a Welsh or 2 for the God's Heart.
Yeah. Oh, Pat's complaining he could have had a 3600 dog because he has double Arwen and an Arwen died. He could have tapped before untapped, then tapped again for plus 3000 to his dog. Pat's upset that his dog couldn't be as big as it could have been. But he tapped one, played an Arwen, swung with dog, passed back to Josh. Josh is on 5 stones. This is starting to get dangerous for machines against Pat. Yeah, I'm not really sure how Pat's gonna get back into this because it doesn't look like he has the same A. Maybe if he can draw a same A, but
the game has progressed way too far.
Yep. Yeah, he needed to get that same A out earlier.
This is like I said though, against machines, you literally have to beat them in 4 mystery box.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, you can get through 1 mystery box, but most of the time, they're gonna have another mystery box in here.
Yep.
So
I also love how like Josh hasn't even run out of cards either. Like he still has 5 cards in hand and a board.
Yeah, Josh is just taking it slow.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is with machines, if you're not playing against screen, then you don't have to discard your hand, and you can play like spinning aqua soul stuff and just keep doing mystery boxes.
Yep.
Just go mystery box, mystery box, mystery box. It's just like beat it.
Yep, I agree. So a little something here though. Yeah, that costs 3 will. He might notice that, but he tapped 2 stones to play the Beast Conference, but it actually costs 1 more. Ah. He played it from hand. I thought he played it from his rune deck. I was thinking that was from his rune because of Explore the Unknown. He needs a Divinity 1. And we haven't seen Sandstorm from him yet, so I figured that was his Divinity 1. So, but I'm wrong. I'm wrong. He's still got 2 runes, whatever those are. Apparently those are not Sandstorm Rapid Fire me, so I don't know what those are.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Oh my god, watch them be Sandstorm Rapid Fire me now, and he gets them with an unblockable dog.
Ooh, don't do that. Don't do that to me. That seems too good.
I mean, it won't work because Vivian's just gonna tap the dog.
Yo.
2K dog. I think he's literally going for that.
Yep. Oh man, yeah, that's gonna be interesting. We got a big dog about to hit face. And so he's on 5 stones. What is he doing here? He might actually steal this from Josh.
Hard.
What was that?
I said I'm gonna laugh so hard.
So yeah, he's got a 2K dog. If he does Rapid Fire Sandstorm here, though, I'm pretty sure... Oh, yeah, I was about to say that Josh will sack off the Vivian to pump up the Guinevere to some extra defense. But that's not enough to live through Sandstorm Rapid Fire.
No.
Like, he actually has lethal here off of that right now.
I could have a 4K dog this turn.
Oh, yeah, we know. We know.
Josh sucks.
We know you could have a 4K dog, Pat. We know.
Well,
but you could have...
Sandstorm?
Oh, okay. There we go. Nature's beauty. So he'll be able to swing in for 26 off of dog off of that if he wants.
The problem is a Lorite. So you need to Lorite to be able... Oh, he does.
Why does he need the Lorite for that?
To stop the tapping of Vivian, but then...
Oh,
Josh,
yeah.
But Josh has to ruin the person that
he's
the dog again.
Yep, and he's going to play maintenance, get some more counters. Vivian's going to be able to rest his Resonator again. Yep.
Come on, Patton.
Not quite there. Man.
Oh, Josh had nothing going on. Josh's hand was bad.
Yeah. So I'm assuming Pat lost that one as well.